Hello, welcome back to the Ball Knowers podcast. I'm Jack Keating here today, joined once again by a very special guest, Brian Drake. Welcome back for the second time. How are you doing today?
I'm good, man. It's the heart of fantasy football season. It's already into August.
Mhm.
We're having a lot of fun debating players and looking at tiers and setting up drafts with all our buddies. So I love it. This is the best time of the year for fantasy football.
No doubt
It gets
about it.
boring once you actually have a team.
hmm Yeah, the most fun for me is the prep and then the draft. So like it's then you get into, especially this is going to be a guillotine related podcast. For a guillotine draft or a league. There's no trade, so the league is stressful, but there's not as much fun afterwards. This is the prep is where the masters really get to shine a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
but so the video for today, the idea is to do favorite and least favorite picks of every round. And we can just spitball a few later on of just our general favorite and least favorite guys. But before we get into that, I do have one question for you. What is your favorite and least favorite pick to draft from this year?
Well, I have multiple leagues now where I just found out I'm picking like 8 or 9. So I kind of, as I've done some mock drafts, I like the back half of the first round because I think you can double up on some really good players. Like you could walk away with Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. Or if you're into Brock Bowers, you can snag him on the way back. So I kind of like starting off that way, and it gives you some flexibility where you can get a receiver and a running back. Like I said, if you like the tight end, maybe you don't have to double up at any position. You can get a nice mix and be really balanced going forward.
Interesting. So you like the back half. Are you anti front half? Do you not like the Jamar Chase, Bijan, Saquon area?
Those guys are all great if you can get them, and they're going to be studs. It's just a matter of on the way back, what are you going to get in round two? And if you take Saquon or Jamar Chase in round one, are you looking to get a different position in round two? And what's left? I just did a series of podcasts with the guru, John Hansen, and one of his big theories this year on drafting early was he wanted to take a wide receiver early because coming back in the second round, he's really keen on Jonathan Taylor.
Mhm.
So that's kind of the linchpin for him is having that balance again and starting his draft with a solid wide receiver and then getting JT.
That's definitely a good strategy. I think the first round receiver is stacked this season. There's probably five or six that are feel like home run picks. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but let's not waste any more time. Let's get into our favorite and least favorite picks of each round. Starting at round one, what is your favorite pick and why?
My favorite pick around one, and this is going to sound bad coming from an Eagles fan. I love CD Lamb. I love CD Lamb this year. I think they're going to throw the ball so much. He's got a chance to lead the league in targets. You just think what they did 2 years ago, when Dak was actually healthy. CD Lamb can put up easily wide receiver one numbers, and you can get him coming off the board as like the third, fourth wide receiver. I mean, there's some leagues where you can get him as like the eighth or ninth pick if he falls a little bit. I love CeeDee Lamb. I think there's no chance they find a running game in Dallas, and
Not
they're
at
just
all.
going to put up absurd like video game numbers with that pass game. So that's my guy for round one. Who do you like?
I'm big on Nico Collins this year. It's a little bit
Yeah.
lower than CD. I'm seeing CD's maybe like a seventh overall pick area, maybe six. I'm
Mhm.
seeing Nico go like 12, 13, 11 area. And I think I'm so high on him. He would have been about 1,400 yards last year had he not got hurt for those 5 games. And I think CJ Stroud's going to have a bounce back season. This is going to be a bad running back room. So, especially with Joe Mixon potentially missing some serious time. And they're going to need to pass the ball a lot. This receiver room is a lot of young guys, and Christian Kirk is the receiver too. Not much other competition out there, so I expect Nico Collins to have a huge season. I think he's going to finish as one of the top like 3 or 4 receivers this season.
That's again why I like drafting at the back half of the first round.
Mm.
If you could get Nico Collins, hell, imagine you get him on the turn. You could start like Nico Collins, Brian Thomas Jr., or what if you pick CMC or Achan to go along with him? So there's
Mhm.
a lot of nice combinations at the back of half of that first round.
But on the spin of it, so you like CD, I like Nico. Who's your least favorite pick of round one?
This is gonna sound bad, and it's Puka Nakua
Same,
for yeah for two
same.
reasons. Number one, he is playing with a quarterback that hasn't practiced yet because he has a bad back and he's 85 years old.
Hmm.
And number two, this is what I've been hanging my hat on all offseason. I love Devontae Adams 2 to 3 rounds later.
Yeah,
Why am I going to pay a first round premium for Puka Nakua when I can just get, maybe just slightly lowercase Puka Nakua and Devontae Adams in the third round? Like,
definitely.
it doesn't make any sense. Just take somebody else in the first round, take Malik Neighbors, take Lamb, and then take Adams as your wide receiver two in the third.
Yeah, you basically said everything I want to say. My last video I just made, make sure to go check it out, is NFL standing predictions where, I'd go through every single division, and I had the Rams finishing last in the division because I don't think Stafford's going to be healthy this season. I think, like, this back injury is already concerning me, and I don't want to project injuries. That's very lame. But I just have a feeling like the old age going with a back injury, that's not like an ankle or something like a little tweak. Like, that's a serious ailment that will completely derail your entire season. Um,
Yeah,
if Stafford's out,
I'm with you.
then Puka is he's not gonna have a good season at all.
No, abandon ship on all those guys if Jimmy Garoppolo is your
Yeah,
QB1
no
in
doubt
LA.
about it. No doubt about it. Okay, moving on to round two. Who's your favorite guy in round two? Where you start to see some
I
more tight
made a
ends, some quarterbacks.
I know. The ADP that I'm looking at here has Josh Allen actually at the end of round two,
Oh
which is
wow.
ridiculous. You can't do that. I just had a buddy of mine message me and he goes, "Hey, how do you draft quarterbacks? Like how early is too early?"
Mhm.
So there's a lot that goes into that. I said, "Well, what's your scoring? How big is the league? Those things factor in." And he's like, "Yeah, standard 12 team league or whatever." I'm like, "All right, well, in the third, fourth round, get the end of those running quarterbacks. Hurts, Jaden Daniels, get your hands on one of those guys if you could." He's like, "Well, I know that Josh Allen's going to go in the first round." I go, "I guarantee you, the guy who drafts Josh Allen in the first round is not winning your fantasy football league. So applaud him for taking him."
Yes,
And
100%.
then his running back group is going to end up being like, I can't even imagine it at that point. It'll be like David Montgomery
Hmm.
and Tony Pollard.
Yeah, it's gonna be RB2s or guys in committees, things like that. Um, so for me, the guillotine league, 18 teams. It's you got to pick guys that are safe, and don't potentially not have a lot of competition. So I like George Kittle a lot this round. I like Bowers and I like McBride, but I think Kittle has the potential to be the tight end one this season or the tight end two. With no Ayuk there for who knows how long. There's still no timetable. I would assume they're going to put him on PUP at some point. I think
Yeah.
Kittle is just the clear receiver one there. You got Juwan Jennings, Pearsall, they're fine. But Kittle had such a great connection with Purdy last season. He had one of his best seasons, if not his best season of his career. I don't see why he won't uh, continue on that and just go full head steam right to the season. I think the Niners could be really good this season, not because I'm even that confident in them, but really because their schedule is just so easy. And if they're scoring points, likely will come through Kittle. Maybe if CMC is healthy as well, it'll come through Kittle and CMC mostly.
I have to remember that if we're looking at this through a guillotine lens with 18 rounds
Hmm.
or 18 picks in the first round, um, then I really probably don't want to take the quarterback in the second round.
Yeah,
Um,
in my
I,
league, we've been doing our guillotine league for like 5 years or so now, and every single year, without fail, one quarterback has gone in the first round. And so I'm
mhm.
I'm fully expecting to see Daniels or Allen first round pick this year. And every time I love it because if I'm pick 12 and I'm like, oh, there's no chance that insert player falls to me. Now they will because a quarterback that was never ADP or projected there is just now taken ahead.
Yeah, and then people think like, well, they've got a chance to blow up and score 40 points, the first week and help me advance. It's
Yeah,
like, yeah, well, what's the rest of your team look like?
hmm,
It's going to even out at some point with the rest
definitely.
of your roster as it bottoms out. So, and then if you lose, you're out.
Yeah.
So, all your players are gone. They're going to be on somebody else's team.
Hmm. So, who is your favorite guy from round two?
Oh, who did I say my favorite guy? All right, well, let's dig in here. I said I didn't love Josh Allen.
Yeah,
Who do I love? So let's go. We're going plus 18 picks in.
Yeah, 19
Hmm,
through
they're like,
36.
you know, who I really enjoy
Hmm.
watching last year, and they've done nothing to challenge him, is Chase Brown in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
He's going to have a three down skill set. He's going to be on the field. I highly doubt, they take him off the field for any of these little pass game specialists or anything. He's going to be the
Hmm.
goal line back. This defense stinks in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Every game's going to be 45-40 shootout, and he's going to have the opportunity to score a boatload of touchdowns. There's a real opportunity, Jack, that at the end of the year we're talking about like, wow, Chase Brown should have been a first round pick with the offense in Cincinnati and how bad that defense is and the opportunities that he's going to get. Because it's all about touches and opportunity in fantasy football. And he's going to get as many as any of those first round running backs.
No doubt about it. He, was a touchdown merchant last season. He just, I wasn't even that high on him going into the season. He proved me wrong 1,000,000%. I was kind of on the Zach Moss train, which, he got released.
Uh, I
So,
know.
yeah.
Hey, I had a team with Zach Moss on it and it didn't
Yep.
work out well.
Yep. All right. So, least favorite, I can start off here. I got two guys here. It's Tyreek Hill and it's T. Higgins. Both, had their, uh, T. Higgins had like a good season for him last season, really good season. But it wasn't even that good. He finished as the receiver 17. And I just don't. I'm not that confident in it. About 10 to 15 points per game. I would want more from a second round pick for my potential receiver one or receiver two.
Mhm.
Still a great offense, but I just think with being the receiver two on that team, it just limits him a little bit. And then for Tyreek Hill, had a down season last year. He was playing through an injury, but even with when Tua was there, he still wasn't that good. And then when Tua goes down, obviously the season's derailed. I don't trust Tua. The injury history with him, I think Tyreek Hill's on a downward trajectory. He had his lowest yards per target since his rookie season last year. It just nothing there, especially the bad chemistry that's happening. They don't even potentially want him there. Everything just points to me that it's a downhill trajectory.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys where with his name, he's going to go maybe higher than he should. And you
Mhm.
think, oh man, it's like McCaffrey. He's going to blow up. And if all the planets align, he's going to be, the wide receiver one in fantasy. But I mean, it's a lot of wish casting
Yeah.
for an aging player who's already kind of shown us who he is. And like you said, the culture stuff that's just bad news.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt about it. Is that? Do you also agree with Tyreek Hill being your least favorite pick from round two?
Well, I don't love Terry McLaurin. McLaurin's 30 years old. He was an old rookie when he came into the NFL. He
Hmm.
wants what 33 million a year, like DK Metcalf. That's ludicrous
Yeah,
for having really one blow up season, and now they add Debo Samuel to that team. So if I have to look at an aging wide receiver who hasn't practiced at all, and they just added a ton of competition on the outside, no thanks.
yeah. I don't disagree with him at all. With that at all. He was the other person that I was considering there. I just didn't really want to have three. Um, all right, moving on to three. Round three. My favorite guy is Amarian Hampton. I'm
Okay.
I'm pretty high on him. I know, maybe it's risky going with a rookie for guillotine, but usually, typically first round running backs do hit, and especially a guy with Hampton here who was so productive in college. Back to back 1,500-yard seasons, 15 touchdown seasons, 6 yards per carry. Like he's a very consistent bounce off the tackle kind of guy. He improved as a pass catcher consistently throughout college. And Najee Harris, this eye injury, still hasn't practiced. But Amarian Hampton's just earning first team rep after first team rep. He's getting more confident and really meshing with the offense a lot better. Because there's nobody else there to challenge him. And so until
Mhm.
Najee comes in, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't be high on Hampton.
I'm going to pull the trigger here on Jalen Hurts at 40 overall
No
because
bias, huh?
no, but I look at some of the players around him. I mean, we already talked about Devontae Adams, but he's got the issue with the quarterback. You mentioned Hampton. He's great. And there's a lot of question marks here in this round. You got Kamara's getting old. Joe Mixon's got a bad foot. DJ Moore, there's a lot of mouths to feed.
Hmm.
DK's on this Pittsburgh team with no talent. So you look around and you go, maybe I just want to pull the trigger on Jalen Hurts. Again, we're talking third round now. If you're taking 18 players in a round,
Yeah.
and Jalen Hurts has that range of outcomes where Jalen Hurts could score 4 touchdowns in a week and really blow up and push your team to victory. So I think between all of these guys in this kind of weird dead zone, if you want to call it, I like Jalen Hurts the most.
Yeah, and Hurts has that rushing upside. I do get it. And you could argue that that is the last quarterback in that elite tier. Maybe you include Burrow
Right.
as well. But, I would consider Mahomes to be a step down after all those guys for fantasy until
Mhm.
he proves that he could get back to that younger form where he was throwing downfield and getting crazy high fantasy points. That you could argue that certainly is the end of the elite QB tier. And yeah, 100% that round three is weak, no doubt about it.
Mhm.
Joe Mixon is my least favorite from this round. I think it's pretty easy to say that for me. The foot injury that is being undisclosed, we just know it as a foot injury. They're saying it's kind of serious, could be weeks. They're going to reevaluate before the season. All of those things worry me greatly. I never have been a Mixon fan. I don't think that he's particularly great for fantasy, anyways. And yeah, I just I don't trust the foot injury to be healthy by the season. Even if it is, he's going into the season missing all of training camp for the most part.
Mhm.
Just bad news all over.
Yeah, and if again, we're drafting for this specific format in guillotine,
Hmm.
I gotta say it's Rashee Rice. You can't draft a guy in the 3rd round who's not gonna play for the first month of the season.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna help your team, and it's really as simple as that. There's some other guys I don't love, I mentioned earlier, but really, in terms of ADP, and you can't think 8 weeks into the future here with this team
Hmm.
because you might not have a team in 8 weeks.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that at all. The only reason I didn't have Rice is because he hasn't been suspended yet. So until he
Mhm.
does, I'm under the assumption that he'll be suspended next season and not this season.
We'll see. That Addison news just came down, so
Yeah, that is
maybe
true.
they're gonna do it one day at a time. They're
Yeah, if
fill
it
the news cycle with
Yeah, but obviously
some
once he's
guys.
suspended, his ADP will drop, and so that's kind of why I didn't really want to put him there because it's to be D.
Oh, that Rashee Rice suspension news will drop Friday night at 11 p.m.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt about it. All right, moving on to round four. Who's your favorite guy in the fourth round?
All right, so let's move in. This is pick 54 to 72
Hmm.
in this ring. Now, there's some interesting guys here.
Yep.
Real interesting guys. This is where it gets kind of fun. I like RJ Harvey a lot. I think he's going to be the lead back in Denver. But again, in this format, that might not happen for a few weeks.
Hmm.
You know who I'm getting turned on to a little bit more? Jamison Williams.
Same.
Just the drum beat is getting stronger and stronger that they want to get the ball in his hands. He's electric. He's a guy that can win you a week with just massive upside in Detroit. The scheme's going to change potentially a little bit. We'll see with the new OC. Again, this OC is coming from outside the system. It's not like
Hmm.
he's a guy that they brought up from their own staff, but I don't think Dan Campbell's going to want to stray that far from what they've been doing. So I'm going to go with Jamison Williams here. I think that's a guy who's just absolutely electric. And the NFL is all about explosive plays. And really, so is fantasy football. How do you win weeks? You get a guy to blow up and have 2 touchdowns and 140 yards. And out of this tier, Jamison Williams, a guy that can definitely give you that.
Hmm. Yeah, last year, week one, Jameson Williams had 5 for 121 and a touchdown. So like that's that electric start you need, and that could be enough
Yep.
right there to just make you survive the week. Because typically
Yeah.
guillotine leagues, you get 60, 70 points, and you probably survive the week for that week one. Yeah, and John Morton, the new Lions OC, he has been raving about Jameson Williams all summer. I've seen probably 3 different interviews where he said how
Mhm.
good he's looked in training camp and whatever, how he wants to use him more. So I'm totally on board with you there. I am high on Jameson Williams this season. I had George Pickens here though, for
Oh,
pretty
it's a good pick,
pretty
too. I like
yeah
it. I
pretty
like it.
pretty similar to how you had CD. I just think Pickens is going to add such a dynamic option to this offense where it's been CD or nothing for it felt like 2 or 3 years now, and it's
Mhm.
fine. He's finally got a running mate to take pressure off of him, and that's going to also help George Pickens because CD is the guy. You need to put your CB1 in him, maybe double him, and Pickens could feast on getting lesser coverages this season. While he's still a very good receiver, obviously a great contested catch guy. I'm really high on Dak this season. I think that he could be an MVP candidate, and if he is, especially with how bad this running back room is, how not great this defense is, and we've today they did joint practice with the Rams, and they were getting run up their mouth nonstop by the Rams, and the Cowboys running back room was doing zero. And if that's the case, the Cowboys are going to have to pass a lot. They're going to be in high scoring games. I think Pickens is going to be a touchdown merchant this season. He's going to get a ton of lower, like quick reception yards, stuff like that. I'm just high on this offense, and I think Pickens is going to feast.
Yeah.
Moving on to least favorites, round four. Who's your guy?
I mean, there's guys in here who are obvious. Jordan Addison, you're not going to take here. Quinshon Judkins, I don't know why with ADP, he's still
Yeah,
sort of hanging
I'm not
mid 60s.
including. Yeah, I didn't include either one just because like
Yeah, you can't include
yeah.
those guys. Um, I'm going to say Jerry Judy. Now, Jerry Judy's a guy who last year gave you a top 15 season on the
Mhm.
back of a couple really good weeks with Jameis Winston, Joe Flacco, those guys. I just don't see it. I mean, this team is just void of talent,
Mhm.
and I can't see them, connecting with, Judy when you're looking at could it be Shador Sanders? Could it be Kenny Pickett? I mean, it's probably gonna be Flacco the first few weeks, but I just have no interest in getting guys on teams that are this dysfunctional and bad because there's a real possibility you'll have weeks with Jerry Judy where it's like 3 for 25,
Mhm.
and they lose 40 to nothing. Like
Yeah.
I don't want anything to do with that team.
He had plenty of those weeks. I'm looking at it now. He had probably 5 plus of those weeks last year, where it's just
Hmm.
2 catches, 25 yards, 1 catch, 15, whatever. And if that happens and that's your receiver two in round four,
Yeah.
you're probably gonna lose. Yeah, he definitely is very scary this season. We'll see with Shadur. He's starting in preseason this weekend, so maybe he shows
He's
out.
the best quarterback on that team.
I
Like
I
let's be honest.
yeah, 100%, no doubt about it. It'll be Flacco, I would assume, but I fully expect to see
Yeah.
Shadur start
Oh
by
yeah.
mid-season, maybe a little later, if they like want
The
to.
owner said as much that they have to get these young kids on the field
Yeah,
to see what they've got
they
because
got
they've got 2 first-round picks next year.
they got nothing to play for this year. So like Flacco, start him if you want. I honestly I wouldn't even care. I wouldn't mind if they just didn't start Flacco at all because you're not going to win anything this season. They should know
I'd
that.
ca-
Like
I'd be calling up the Rams saying, "Give us a fifth-round pick for Joe Flacco."
yeah,
Or from the Giants, and I go, "Hey, you want Jameis Winston? You want Russ?
yeah,
What are these teams doing? Give me we'll give you Russ Wilson. Give us a fourth-round pick. Okay, now you got a capable backup for Stafford.
yeah. I don't disagree with that at all. Um, my least favorite guy is Aaron Jones. Maybe that could be a little bit of a unpopular take, but I'm kind of buying into the Jordan Mason talk a little bit. There's been tons
Yeah,
of
yeah,
talk about they want to do more of a committee. Obviously, Aaron Jones had his most touches last season, and they
yep.
see how he was in Green Bay with when he had a committee with Jamal Williams. He was better than he was when he was just an RB1. And so, if Jordan Mason's going to take the goal line work, he's there's a lot of reports that he's been doing well in receiving as well. Like there was catching out the backfield and stuff like that. It does worry me a little bit for Aaron Jones. I still believe that he's the RB1 there and that he's going to have a fine season. It's just I don't know how well he's going to be able to be that high end RB2 that people are going to be drafting him to be.
Mhm.
All right, moving on to round five. I'll start out mine. My favorite guys. I got two here. It's Calvin Ridley and Jacoby Myers. So
Like them both.
yeah,
Like them.
I like Ridley a lot because the connection with Cam Ward has been like just reported on from basically day one. They seem like they're already really good friends and they've been connecting consistently throughout training camp. I saw them working out a lot like the second Cam Ward got drafted basically, and Ridley seems like in high spirits. He seems like he's really locked in for the season. I don't know how I felt kind of questionable about him on the Titans last year. It didn't really seem like he was fully in it, if that makes sense. And this year he seems like he's all in. And then Jacoby Myers, I just think, coming off his best season of his career across basically every single stat, and this is going to be an improved offense, all new coaching staff, better, like significantly better quarterback upgrade, uh, best running back he's played within his career. Playing again with Brock Bowers. There's so many weapons on this offense. Maybe you could argue that that is a negative, but I think that this offense is going to be explosive. And it's kind of the way I compared it is like a Bengals light, where they're not as good as the Bengals, but it's the same idea. They're gonna zero defense, all offense, shootout games, and I think that's a recipe for Jacoby Myers, who's the clear receiver one here. Zero competition for that role to feast again this year.
Say my favorite guy in this round. Now we're looking at guillotine, 18 picks around, so these are picks like 73 to 90, we'll
Mm-hmm.
say. Uh I got it jumping out to me, and I never liked this guy before, but Debo Samuel. The same
Wow.
reason I don't like Terry McLaurin. I'm in on Debo Samuel. If you look at what Cliff Kingsbury likes to do, horizontal raid. Everyone talks about it. Get the ball to the perimeter, screens.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who's great at that with the ball in his hands? Debo Samuel.
Yeah.
Debo Samuel's not going to go beat people 40 yards down the field. That's Terry McLaurin's game. Good. Go run a bunch of cardio routes. Debo can win around the line of scrimmage, and I think that's why they got him, and he can also run the ball a little bit. So this late into a draft, and hey, even if you're listening to this for a 12-team, 10-team
Mm-hmm.
league, whatever it is, Debo this late is a great pick to be like your wide receiver. I don't know, 3, 4, whatever it could be. So I love Debo in this slate.
Yeah, I'm a little iffy on him just because he clearly lost it a bit on the Niners last year, like his athleticism and his
Sure.
overall game. So that does worry
He was
me.
fat.
Yeah, he was, and he still kind of looks fat this year. So it's a little worrisome. But that sideways air raid that they do, it's just like he could go, he could get 80 catches on just like behind the line of scrimmage passes. No doubt
Yeah,
about it.
absolutely.
So my least favorite guy from this round is Travis Etienne. All the reports are that this is going to be more of a committee than in the past, and it already was last year, and it seems like this is not his job to lead at all. If anything, Tank Bigsby could take over this job. He's taking over the primary running back role, like the true runner, whereas Etienne will be a good receiving back. So if you're in PPR, maybe this could be a good pick. I do half PPR, so I'm not as high on him, but I just don't think that he's going to be an RB1 in any sense this season for this team, and I don't even think he could be a fantasy RB2. Maybe a flex for the first few weeks, but I don't want him on my team.
You see who Liam Cohen talks up every time they put Mike in his face? LaQuint Allen. Always mentions him every time.
Syracuse,
And
the
again,
legend.
they drafted Bashal Tutin, athletic freak out of Virginia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
I just throwing it out there, folks. Don't sleep on LaQuint Allen. Not because we're a couple of Syracuse homers here, but he's a really good, capable running back. And what did Liam Cohen say about him after their big Friday night stadium practice? He does everything right. And maybe that's the culture they have at Syracuse. He was there and he was playing for 3 years, but he's a really good player. It wouldn't shock me at all if LaQuint Allen carved out a role here. So I'm with you with Travis Etienne. He should get traded. He should be on the Cowboys in 2 weeks. Let's be honest.
Fun fact about LaQuint Allen: today's his birthday, so happy birthday to
Oh,
LaQuint Allen, turning 21 today. Good for him.
oh, oh my goodness. Get out and party, kid. Well, have fun in Jacksonville.
Yeah, there's plenty to do there. All right, so are you agreeing with ETN being your least favorite guy from this round?
I'm going to go with Jonnu Smith.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
Now, I know that Pittsburgh is void of targets and he could see plenty. But again, I just worry about this offense with Artie Smith. They're spreading the ball. They could run. Like, let's not forget that Pat Frymuth isn't dead. And
Hmm.
Pat Frymuth's a very capable tight end. I can't see taking Jonnu Smith over some of these names, over Debo, over Evan. I'll take Evan Ingram over Jonnu Smith all day.
100%.
Ricky Pearsall in the next round. I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but there's a million guys that I would take over Jonnu. Jonnu Smith's not going to be on one team that I have all year.
I am completely in agreement. I saw one report that said Arthur Smith is practicing 4 tight end sets with 0 running backs, where Johnu was playing running back, and I saw that and I said, I'm not taking Johnu. But yeah, more than just that, I don't. There's not enough to go around here, and I don't feel confident in Rodgers. I don't feel confident in the O line. This offense has been bad for years now. I think it could be
Yeah.
a scheming thing as well. Like it's just nothing here tells me that this is going to be a good offense.
They're going to
So
play at a slow pace.
yeah, like they
They've
love
got
to
no
run.
weapons.
Yeah, it's just nothing here. I'm not taking any Steelers if I'm able to. DK was one of my least favorite guys from the previous rounds as well. I don't think he's gonna have a good season either. All right, moving on to round 6. Who's your favorite guy from round 6?
I keep coming back to the ageless wonder at this point, Stephon Diggs in New England. I know he's an aging receiver. I know he's coming off an ACL. What else do they have?
Mm-hmm.
The offensive line is much improved. They've got a quarterback who's ascending. There's nothing else at that wide receiver position on this team. He's going to lead the team in targets. They got a real play caller now in Josh McDaniels. Maybe late, you could take a shot on Pop Douglas, but why wouldn't Stephon Diggs lead this team in targets and have, I don't know, 75 catches, 8, 9 touchdowns this year?
Hmm.
It's all there for him.
Yeah, I'm high on the Patriots, really high on them. I have them actually making the playoffs this season. I think they're going to be the seventh seed. They're going to be the second team in their division. I have them going 9-8. I just think that I'm really high on Drake May. I think this defense is improved. This O line is good. I'm really high on Travion Henderson, and this receiver core is so much better than it was last year. And Drake May looked good with a bad receiving core. So what could he look like when he has actual capable guys? I like Demario Douglas. Last time you were on, you mentioned Kyle Williams. I like him as well. There's tons of people to be excited about on this offense, and Stephon Diggs is certainly in that list as well. I have two guys here for round six. It's Pearsall and Juwan Jennings. It's pretty similar to Kittle. With my reasoning is that if Ayuk is out and he misses some time, even if he plays, I'm not confident in him being actually super good. You see a lot of times guys take an extra year to be truly back to themselves after a knee tear. Um, and one of these guys has to step up as that receiver one. Pearsall was
Yeah.
great at the end of last year, so it could be him if he continues that. Juwan Jennings was like their safety blanket, elite on third down guy, so maybe he could step up into a bigger role. But I think somebody has to be 800 to 1,000 yard guy on this team if they're going to, reach the heights of a division title or something like that. Moving on to least favorite, who's your guy that you're not drafting in this round six?
There's a few here that are jumping off the
Yes,
page.
this
To be
was
honest.
when I was doing my notes. This was by far my least favorite round. There was about seven guys I would have chosen.
Yeah, I mean, you get down to the bottom of the round, you look at Javante, Scadaboo, Charbonnet. I don't have a ton of interest in.
I don't mind
Um,
Charbonnet honestly.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
I'm not. I'm
all
not.
the talk
Yeah,
that
I'm not taking him everywhere, but he's not my least favorite guy.
I'm gonna, I don't love Josh Downs if Anthony Richardson's the starting quarterback. That's for sure. Let's see. I'll go Javante. I mean,
We have the
I
same one.
know last year I had a whole bit about Uncle Rico Dowdle, but that's because Rico could actually play,
Hmm.
and you got him for nothing late in the
Yeah,
your draft process, and he turned out to be a pretty serviceable RB2 flex fill-in guy for you
he ran for a
down the
1K.
stretch.
Ran for a
Yeah,
1K. Yeah.
so he was fine. I don't see that with Javante. I don't think they're starting running back that you're going to be talking about in week 10, 11, 12. I don't think that person's on the roster yet. Um,
Wow.
I think they're going to be scouring cut downs. They're going to be looking at trades. I mean, it could be Miles Sanders leading this team at this point, but I don't know. Javante just seems so zapped of any juice that I'm not taking him here.
Yeah, I have the same exact person. I'm very low on Javante. I used to be so high on him his first few seasons, and then I think he tore it was an ACL. I think he tore, and it
Yeah,
just
he blew his knee out.
yeah, just obviously sapped all of his ability. He's never looked the same. This is going to be a committee. I think it's probably going to be whoever has the hot hand each week gets to get the most touches. And Javante, I just don't trust him at all. I think they're not even going to run the ball that much, anyways. And yeah, Javante's not very good. I think Jaden Blue could win this job.
Maybe. I mean, he's not the biggest guy in the world. I don't see him taking a ton of carries through the middle, but he's explosive if you get him in space,
Hmm.
and if Schottenheimer can draw some things up for him on the perimeter, and get, like we said, get some space for him to run. The kid's got a shot to score some fantasy points for you, and you don't have to spend anything to get Jaden Blue.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
he's
I think
super
they can let
smart.
these two guys beat each other up in the middle of the field, Sanders and
Hmm.
Devontae.
All right, so we got our last two rounds we're going to cover here. We can go through them a little quick, and then we're just going to spitball a few last names of the guys we like from rounds 9 on, because at that point you're drafting in the 150-ish range. It's
Yeah,
it's it's, it's kind of a
go
just
get your guy at that point.
yeah,
Don't worry about ADP.
exactly. Yeah. If you like somebody, you liked him in the draft, you're high on him in general, you're just a fan, just go take him. So
Yeah.
round 7, I've got three guys here because I like all three equally. The first
Okay.
one is Colston Loveland. I'll explain a little bit for each one before I announce the next. So Loveland is such a weak tight end class in fantasy this year. I feel like it's the top three guys, and it's just a drastic fall off. I'm not high on Laporta. I don't love Kelsey, and so like Laporta's solid, but like after 4, it's really where it falls off. And so, um, Loveland, I think, could be a huge steal down the board. He's already, the training camp. It looks like he's going to be a big part of this offense. They've already announced that he's a tight end one on this team, and he was such a great receiving tight end in college. I don't see why he can't be a great safety blanket for Caleb Williams, who also looks to be pretty solid so far in training camp. My second guy is J.K. Dobbins, because what you said about R.J. Harvey earlier, maybe not being the guy for the first few weeks, is why I like Dobbins. He's been leading the team in first team carries so far in training camp, and those first few weeks he might outpace Harvey by, I don't know how many more touches he'll get, but I think he'll be the RB1 for at least the first month or so. And if you're drafting round 7, this is going to be my flex, maybe first running back off the bench. I love that. I'll take the team's RB1 and maybe play him once or twice, and then he can become the backup, and he can not play anymore. And then my third guy is Dak. I mentioned it earlier. I think he could win MVP this season, or at least be in the conversation. He's going to be passing nonstop. It's going to be similar to Burrow last season, and we saw it 2 years ago when Dak was healthy. He was the quarterback 3 in fantasy. So now
Yeah.
he's adding Pickens. Like, I see no reason why he shouldn't, if he's healthy, have a fantastic season. All right, that was a long
Well,
winded.
this
That was long winded. So who's your guy?
this is really the quarterback round right here. When you look at the guys who are available, this is 108 to 126.
Yeah,
So I mean, Herbert's out there. Oh, by the way, they just signed Keenan Allen, so now he's got a couple of weapons.
hmm
Brock Purdy, I love this
yeah,
year. You can get him late, and then also, like you mentioned, Caleb's here. Dak, Jordan Love. This is my quarterback tier. If I'm not getting one of the elites, I'm waiting till right now,
yep,
and I'm pulling the trigger on Dak or Purdy. Probably Purdy more so than anything. But if I can get my hands on one of those two guys,
yeah,
this is a perfect spot. You've loaded up everywhere else. All your positions are pretty solid. Now you go take Purdy or Dak, who's going to throw for 250 and two every single week.
yes. I also am big on Purdy. Uh, I think loaded offense, but getting CMC back, he should have a great season once again. Moving on to least favorite, you mentioned there's the quarterback tier. So I've got a quarterback in my least favorite. It's Justin Fields. I've never been high on him, and I'm not high on him going to the Jets. He did not impress me at all, passing wise on the Steelers. He wasn't amazing for fantasy. He was good at running, and he's always going to be good for fantasy because he's going to get rushing touchdowns or a lot of rushing yards. But this Jets team just does not make me feel very excited, especially with Fields at quarterback. He doesn't have great weapons at all. Uh, and having a legit, somewhat running back behind him with Brees Hall, depending on how healthy he'll be, it Fields doesn't show me to be doesn't make me feel like a confident at all if I'm taking a guillotine. He's by far in this tier, in this round. You got Herbert, Caleb, Dak, Purdy, Jordan Love. By far the scariest to me and the riskiest to be my quarterback one. You can't risk that.
Yeah, he'll have some big weeks, no question, when he runs for 100 yards and two touchdowns. But
Mhm.
there's going to be weeks when he doesn't do anything on the ground and he throws for a buck 50.
Yeah,
You know, a
no
couple
doubt about
interesting guys too. Tucker Kraft, Jordan Mason. I want to throw those guys out there. Wouldn't mind having them on my team either. I think Jordan Mason's going to get a lot of work in Minnesota.
it. Mhm.
Tucker Kraft, they just rave about him at Packers camp. He could be a sneaky tight end if you don't get one of the top 3, 4 guys. I think Tucker Kraft's a guy
Yeah.
this late who could really put up almost similar numbers to those top 5 guys,
Mhm.
or at least he won't kill you.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, 7 touchdowns last season. He was like consistently scoring, and that's if for a tight end, like if you get 7 points, it feels like I'll take it at this point. The tight end this year just feels very
Oh
weak.
yeah.
Yeah, and so if Tucker Kraft is the guy who's going to be consistently scoring, then he could finish any week tight end 5, 6. All right, moving on to our last round. Or sorry, oh yeah, yeah. Moving on to our last round. Who is your favorite guy in round 8?
All right, so we're looking. It's like 127 to 144
Yeah,
as
really
we look
far
through
down
the
at this
list.
point.
Yeah, oof, we're looking deep here.
Yeah, this should be the first round past the halfway point in your guillotine league. I do 15 rounds, maybe you do 16, but in a 15 round draft, this is the beginning of the second half.
Boy, it's getting dark early, as
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
to say, with this crew here. I think I might lean on Christian Kirk here.
Okay.
Just as out of all these guys that looking like kind of dart throws
Hmm.
or maybe splitting time. Christian Kirk's going to play. He's going to be the starting slot receiver for Houston. We don't know what kind of running game they're going to have with mixing out and the corpse of Nick Chubb. So they're going to throw the football, and every ball can't go to Nico Collins. And Christian Kirk had a great season. What, 2 years ago,
Yeah.
where he was dominating out there in Jacksonville. So in this tier of guys, I know it's not super sexy upside, but I think Christian Kirk can hold it down and get you 10 points a week.
Yeah, he's if you're if for some reason you're taking your flex in round 8, you Christian Kirk, or if it's your first receiver off the bench, Kirk is definitely a safe. He's a safety option. He's a safety blanket for sure. In a similar sense, I like Eckler. I think he could be a safety kind of guy there too. But the guys, again, I have two people because I just was indecisive. Rashad Bateman and Jaden Blue. Jaden Blue is certainly more of a dart throw than probably anybody else in this entire round. But
Sure.
I think that he could win that job. It's like I said earlier. I think it's going to go whoever has the hot hand. We saw it. I forget what team did it, maybe a year or two ago, but they literally did. Each running back's going to get a carry at the beginning of the game. Whoever just does the best is probably going to be the RB1 that game. And
A
that,
recipe for disaster. That's
yeah,
not good coaching.
yeah, not at all. But like that could just be Dallas again this year. Both, all three guys get some touches, and like whoever looks the best, maybe even if it's in practice that week. So
Yeah.
maybe Blue comes out on top. It's not much competition there. And then Rashad Bateman had such a good season last year, 9 touchdowns, beating his previous career high of 2. Um, really was such a big target for Lamar. They finally connected and finally got on the same page after it felt like year after year after year. People were saying how high they were on him. John Harbaugh saying he had like the best training camp out of everyone on the team. Felt like every year he said that. And so yeah, I think he's just going to build on last season and continue that connection with Lamar. And he got paid this offseason, so that's
Mhm.
another. They clearly trust him. All right, least favorite guy in round 8. Who do you got?
Hmm. I know a lot of people love Luther Burden, so I'm going to look between Luther Burden and Marvin Mims. And I'm probably going to lean more on Mims because,
Interesting.
I mean, they got he's not going to be the second receiver in Denver. But I know there's a lot of hype for Luther Burden.
Mm-hmm.
He's drafted highly by the Bears, but how many Bears receivers do we have to talk about here? They're going to play. They just spent like what, the 10th overall pick on a tight end,
Yep.
and they already had a good tight end. That to me screams 12 personnel.
Mm,
Who's not going to be on the field? 12 personnel, probably Luther Burden.
yep.
So I just can't see with Dunze and DJ Moore and Swift. Like, there's not enough balls to go around for
Yeah. No.
Luther Burden.
I, t- I
So between him and Mims, I'm not drafting Mims ever. So I throw him on the list too.
For the Broncos receiver too, do you think it's going to be Vele? Do you think it's going to be Troy Franklin?
I mean, both those guys have been talked up. They went out and they drafted a kid as well.
Pat Bryant?
I
Yeah.
just think maybe we just don't even worry about the second guy. Just take Sutton and then worry about the running game.
Mhm.
And the second receiver is probably going to be Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
So don't worry about these other wide receivers because they're not going to do anything for you on a week to week basis. You'll pull your hair out trying to figure out, is it a Vele week? Is it,
Yeah. Yeah.
Mims? Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I like Ingram a lot, basically for that reason. That where it's the receiver too shaky. That's usually where a tight end can really step up, especially a receiving tight end like Ingram. My
Yeah.
least favorite guy here is Rashid Shaheed. I like him. Like I've always liked him, but I mean, I'm fading every single Saint this season. Even fading Kamara. I was low on him last year, and I don't want to. I was wrong then, so I don't want to buy in and be wrong because I doubted myself. So I'm going to stick with it. I'm fading Kamara, and I'm fading every Saint. It's going to be a bad offense. It's going to be a bad defense. It's going to be a bad team. Rookie head coach, rookie quarterback. I don't even like the rookie quarterback. I don't think Tyler Shuck is that good. And
Oh, he's
Rashid Shaheed, major deep threat kind of guy. I don't think that they're going to have the O line to throw deep. I don't think they're good. Like it's recipe for disaster in New Orleans this season. Very well could be the worst team in the league, and I'm not taking any Saints, and that is that Shaheed is on the Saints, so I'm not taking him. All right, do you just any just throw out any names here, guys that you do that you like, don't like. It could be from round 9 on. It could be anywhere in the draft.
Sure. So some guys I think you just kind of keep in your back pocket. Emeka Ibuka out of Ohio State, playing that Chris Godwin role currently for Tampa Bay. Effusive praise being heaped upon him in camp. I was, excuse me, skeptical of that when it first began, but I mean, listen, we don't know when Chris Godwin's going to play. Ibuka is going to be there. He's going to play, and they're going to throw the ball a ton. These two Cleveland Browns running backs, Jerome Ford um, and Dylan Sampson.
Mhm.
Somebody's got to run the football because you need to have a running back. That's kind of the rules. Uh, one of them has to play and play a lot. And remember, we're not that far off from a season where Jerome Ford was kind of okay. Is he going to win your league? No. But can he give you, again, 10, 15 points in a PPR? Absolutely.
Mhm.
Especially if they're going to want to play hide the quarterback a little bit on that team. And then one more guy, Mason Taylor, tight end rookie for the New York Jets. Again, who else are they throwing the ball to here? I think didn't he have? I think something just popped up in an ankle injury or something with him. But
I'll
he should be okay by the time
yeah,
the season
ankle
starts.
sprain.
He's just a big, talented kid who could eat up a boatload of targets and be great around the goal line for the New York Jets, who have absolutely nothing outside of Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, you hit on every single person that I like as well. I will say about Ibuka though, um, I like Jalen McMillan a lot too. He had a great end of last season, and so it just
Mhm.
it's hard for me to believe that they're just gonna say those last 6 weeks
He's a
where
forgotten man.
yeah, where he scored every week basically, and he had like 100 yards almost every week. We're just gonna forget about you. You're going to the bench, barely gonna play maybe 15% of the snaps a game, and we're going with Ibuka. That's just it's harder for me to believe that.
Yeah.
But it's there's two guys with McMillan and Ibuka, and when Godwin comes back, he is there too, where they're all playing the exact same role. They're all going for the same position. I wish that one of them could be a Mike Evans type receiver, but he's the only deep down the field contested catch guy there. Um, a few other people that I like, I'm going to mention Kyle Monagai again, Rutgers legend. I think that he's going to be the RB2 in Chicago. I think he's going to take Roshan. I think he's going to take over Roshan. And we saw, Ben Johnson likes to do the two RB strat in Detroit. I think he could implement that somewhat in Chicago as well. I'm not very high on DeAndre Swift, so I don't see why Monagai can't get up some burn. I like Sampson and I like Ford. More so Sampson. I think that Ford wasn't great last season, and Dylan Sampson could totally come in and take that job. I like Jalen Royals in Kansas City, especially if Rashee Rice gets suspended. He's been getting some first team reps, and he's going to be a great deep threat, especially if Mahomes wants to throw deeper like they've been saying. Dante Thornton, receiver from the Raiders, 6'5", 200, ran a 4.3. I'm pretty sure. I don't see him getting. Yeah, he could be the receiver two there with. I think it's Jack Beck right now. I don't. That's not very interesting to me. So I think that he could take that job over. And then Trey Harris, I like as well. Not much anymore because Keenan Allen just got signed. That is a little
Yeah.
worrisome. But I was liking Trey Harris a lot for this offseason. So we'll see. And Cedric Tillman maybe. He's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
But
That late, they gotta throw to somebody. I'm not
yeah,
spending the early capital on Judy, like we said.
yeah, no doubt. Is there any names out there that you're like you're saying don't draft this guy in round 12. He's not even going to make the roster, or like some I don't know anybody in the draft really that you're not liking at all that you haven't mentioned.
I've never been a Tajay Spears guy, for Tennessee. I know the offensive line's improved, but
Hmm.
I think it's Tony Pollard's job.
Okay.
I mean, maybe they split some carries, but I don't know. I've never seen a lot with him that got me super excited.
Hmm.
See anybody else a little earlier that I'm not.
So are you not buying? Cause there's been a lot of talk about they're going to try to do more of a committee this season. Are you not
Yeah,
really?
I've heard that, but I don't
Yeah.
know. He's just a small guy, and
Hmm.
I just don't. I'd rather go somewhere else. And
Yeah. I
um,
I'll say Tyler Algier. I liked him his rookie season. He was pretty solid, but I think Bijan could be offensive player of the year this year, and I don't see
okay.
why Algier would get many carries if that's the case. He's going in the ninth round, like mid ninth round. There's just like there's not many. I mean, Sampson's underneath him, so I'd totally take him. There's not many running backs around there. That's great value, but I would just honestly take almost anybody other than him because you're taking a bona fide running back too behind maybe the best running back in the league. Like that he's not going to get that much burn this season.
We throw one more sleeper guy out here for you. If it's super late, you need a guy. How about Hunter Henry? Came
Yes,
on at the end of the year for
yes,
the Pats.
love him.
Again, who are they throwing to out there? And they know how to scheme it up there with McDaniels. It
Hmm.
wouldn't shock me at all if Hunter Henry turns in a top 7 tight end season.
Yeah, I believe that he, if I can just find him here, yep, he had. Okay, well, it's not going to load. That's awesome. He had 700 yards basically last season, 97 targets, especially at the end of the end of the year, he was just getting in 8, 9, 8, 9 like targets per game. This 7 for 75 receiving yards in week 13 versus the Colts. Like that's if he starts scoring a little bit more, he only had 2 touchdowns. It's gonna be a better offense. They're gonna be in the red zone more. I totally think if he could start scoring a bit more, he could be tight end 10, 12, and that, you're getting him at tight end 15, 17 area. I'll say
Mhm.
one tight end here. Elijah Arroyo with with
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Noah Fant leaving, they released him. Arroyo, athletic monster. I could totally see him easily being a tight end one there, and I don't trust Darnold at all in Seattle. I'm so out on Darnold, and the O line is bad. He's going to get pressured a ton. And if that's the case, he's going to be throwing down to the tight end. I'd assume a lot. Um, I think Arroyo could have a decent season. Um, anything else that you want to mention? Just any guillotine
Uh,
tips for anybody? Any fantasy tips? Anything?
uh, Jeez, just don't go crazy in your league trying to I guess some people try to get too cute. I know everyone wants to draft for upside, and we kind of preach that over at Fantasy Points, but just draft good players on good teams. If I could give one piece of advice, don't leave your draft with a bunch of guys on bad teams. Like you walk out of your draft and you're like, I got guys on the Saints, I got guys on the Cardinals, and then you look around and you go, why does my team stink? Oh, because our offense don't score any points.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very simple. Boil it down. Look at the teams. Who's always good? You know, Philadelphia, Detroit, Buffalo, Kansas
The
City. The
Giants. Yeah.
Bengals score a ton of points. Draft guys on good teams, folks.
I definitely agree with that. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on. This was a very exciting episode to film. I love guillotine. I love preaching the word on how it's the best fantasy format out there. So hopefully a few people can see this and can maybe join a league this year for the first time.
I
Uh,
hope so, man. Thanks for having me.
yeah, totally. And you're welcome back whenever you'd like. Fantasy season's about to start up, so maybe I don't know some point this year or maybe off season with whoever. Who knows? But definitely talk again sometime. And until next time, signing off. See you guys around.